I'm going to show you the extraction of Buckyball C60 and C70 into a solvent called toluene that you can see here. And we're going to compare that to if I took another sample of carbon, just charcoal that's ground up into a powder, so that we can see that there really is a difference. And so before we start, if we think about charcoal or anything like that, it's black. It's called carbon black. And the chains of carbon atoms, the bonding between the carbon atoms in just charcoal or soot from a candle or a flame is just really random. And so there's no regularity. They're all a variety of lengths and things like that. And so that's what's in the vial over here on the right. We have 1/2 gram of activated charcoal in there. And on the left over here, we have some more just soot. Again, very similar to charcoal, just random bonding of carbon to other carbons, nothing regular. But it also has been manufactured with some fullerenes, C60 and C70 in there. And so what I'll do now is add toluene to both. We'll shake them up, and then we'll look to see if there's any difference in what has gone into the toluene, if anything. So if this works, this is what we would call an extraction. We're going to selectively extract a component out of a mixture or some other residue. So we'll give that a good shake just to kind of mix the solvent with the particles. So what a solvent is just any sort of liquid or gas. It could be any phase that has an attraction for whatever is going to be dissolved into it. So this toluene solvent has an attraction for the fullerenes, C60 and C70. And so the fullerenes will selectively be dissolved in the solvent, hopefully, after this is done. But all the other random weird carbon-carbon bonding stuff that's going on in the soot or the charcoal will be left behind. So now that we have shaken them up, there's just some sediment. They look really black if I zoom in. And what we're going to have to do is wait a while so that if there's any solid sort of not dissolved but floating in solution because I shook it up, it'll settle out. And I think actually you can look at the charcoal, you can see it looks kind of colorless and clear on the top. So let me bring that up. So you can see that the tag's in the way. I'll turn it around. So do you see the soot that has fallen to the bottom and the toluene is just sitting there on top? We don't notice anything different. The toluene layer on the top still looks colorless like the original toluene did. But maybe we can see if we take a look at the fullerene soot. That doesn't look quite the same. It doesn't seem to be clarifying quite as well. So there must be something different about that. And what we need to do is just let this sit for a while and come back and check it at a later time and see if there's any difference. Let's take a look at our results of the Buckyball extraction. You can see over here on the right, that was just the regular old activated charcoal or carbon soot, and we can see there's nothing interesting going on, but we haven't waited quite long enough. But you can kind of see if you look at very carefully on the surface of the Buckyball vial that we actually have some sort of a purplish color, and this has not settled out. In fact, if we're impatient, we have some from previous extractions that we can take a look at. I think you can see there's a nice sort of wine color to this sort of a purplish red. And that is the indicative color of Buckyballs. So we had successfully extracted them out of the soot with toluene. So here is even a better representation. We took essentially the Buckyball extract from something like this, which is still kind of cloudy because a lot of the fine particles of soot haven't settled out, and filter it, this is what you get. So this is the sort of wine-colored Buckyball extract, and toluene has a really nice color. So those C60 and C70 little Buckyballs are now dissolved in the toluene, and you can see that is quite a bit different. Here's just a larger sample of the activated charcoal or the soot. No color. So that's indicative that something actually happened.